Plants vs. Zombies is such an incredibly simple concept. You put some trees down, they shoot some zombies, don't let them get to the end, that is it. And yet, thanks to its excellence of execution, iconic character designs, and utterly timeless music, it has resonated with millions of people all across the world and stealthily became one of the most beloved and iconic games in the whole planet. But you know who really loves this game? Apparently, China. Unlike 99% of us who just send mean tweets to EA saying, "Oh, Plants vs. Zombies fucking sucks, even I can make a better game." Yeah, Chinese people don't do that, they just shut up and make the games themselves. In Vietnam, we have a term called Chinese wizards. It's an endearing term which refers to how certain Chinese products can be of such utterly absurd quality for bottom-of-the-barrel prices that it almost feels like black magic. And to me, the PVZ mods I'm about to show you are exactly in that category. If you've never seen these before, be ready to shatter any expectations you may have of a Plants vs. Zombies mod. And as a cherry on top, they are all completely, unequivocally free. So, without further ado, let's go. We'll start out with some mods that don't stray too far from the regular PVZ formula, but offer enough new things to be worth talking about, just as an appetizer before we really get into it. The first is the catalyst to my renewed interest in PVZ1 modding. There was a bit of a trend a few years ago where modders really wanted to make Plants vs. Zombies, a traditionally easy and casual game, to be the most agonizing and unfair experience humanly possible. This video by Shy Guy Masks showcased patient zero of this phenomenon called PVZ+, which was retroactively renamed Brutal Mode. Two other mega difficult Chinese mods surfaced and were covered extensively by YouTuber RCCH, who named them Brutal Mode EX and then Brutal Mode EX+. It's only a matter of time before we get Brutal Mode 3 Third Strike. A mod called Brutal Mode EX+ has about the amount of difficulty you'd expect from it, but not in ways you'd think. See, usually something of this nature would starve you of resources and then crank enemy health or quantity to 11, but that's not the case. Instead, dozens of new enemy types were added with increasingly absurd abilities, such as a zombie with a letter on its head capable of running straight through your plants, a black football zombie tankier than fucking Dave Blunt's, or Zombotany zombies in regular levels. And then sometimes, all of those things combined. Because why the fuck not? The exponentially increased quality and quantity of zombies makes micromanaging incredibly intensive and difficult, with even some levels that are literally impossible without having to cheat your way into having perfect luck. Not to mention, this mod also has an absurd quantity of genuinely insane and creative minigames that push the boundary of sanity. Just take a look at this.
Okay, but now I shall explain the first extreme difficulty level. The level idea is simple. It's called Bullet Hell, and we pretty much understand what the objective of the level is. And you did indeed see that correctly. In the short time I spent on an introduction, we already lost once. This level is certainly something to witness if you're a masochist. The goal is to collect the same projectile as your mouse, and make sure you make zero contact with any other projectile. Every time you collect enough of one type, you move on to a new projectile, and one new projectile is added to the random bullet hell that is the screen.
Madness! You can probably guess that most of my experience with this mod is as a spectator of RCCH's excellent videos, because unlike him, I am not a masochist. However, I did try a version of Brutal Mode EX Plus for this video, and yeah, it's fucking bullshit. 3? Are we joking? Die! Oh my god! Are we joking? Oh. Just from the first 4 levels, I had a small taste of the pain this man went through for my entertainment, and it does not make me want to tread along his path. Still, after being so thoroughly entertained, my interest was piqued on PVZ1 modding, especially while being bored to death at my grandma's house. And after browsing for a while, the first mod that I ever downloaded was this. I don't know what I just got myself into. I think it's a rabbit hole. So this is the very aptly named Plants vs. Zombies Crazy Multiverse. The only way I can describe it is that it knows exactly what it wants to be. And what it wants to be is very strange. I know the word fever dream gets thrown around a lot when describing things you don't understand, but how else should I describe this? You start off with a flaming pea shooter, defending against zombies that wear rabbit costumes, and one of the first plants you unlock is the bomb bird from Angry Birds. What's next? Oh, your walnut is a ghost. The bowling minigame uses a song from Deltarune. Then your lawn is Bloons TD6, and then you finally fight a world boss behind a remix of the Journey to the West music. It only gets weirder from then on, which just makes me wonder, how the fuck does anyone think of this? My working theory is that this was all part of some guy's dreams. Picture this. A Chinese Plants vs. Zombies modder fell asleep one day, and then he saw in his subconscious a mashup of every single one of his interests, including games, music, and movies. Then he woke up, wrote it down, and decided, yeah, this is what I'm making now. Dear Diary, today I had a great dream. I was playing Plants vs. Zombies inside a bakery, and I had to protect my sacks of flour from the rats from Ratatouille with soccer balls and pots on their heads. Then I had to fight concubines, Native Americans, Scarlet Witch, and Orochi from King of Fighters 97 because I still can't beat that boss, fuck you SNK. Also, there was an imp carrying a gargantua on its back, and the cattail looked really stupid. I will now spend hundreds of hours actualizing these disparate visions into a real PVZ mod for no good reason. I'm 27, please God give me a girlfriend. I didn't really write anything down. Anyway, gameplay-wise, this mod is pretty fun. There's a good variety of plants and zombies alike, and the difficulty feels just a step above vanilla, which I think is great. Minigames and survival are also fully implemented, including some which weren't in the original game. Overall, a great mod to play and mess around with, and really shows what kind of imagination these Chinese modders have and are able to conjure into fully playable experiences. This mod kinda reminded me a lot of PVZ too. The speed up button, which is very appreciated in every single version of PVZ it's in, the widescreen resolution, which is really nice and also a mod, and several plants were lifted straight from that game. It's kind of like a nice mixture between classic and modern PVZ. Sort of like a hybrid. This is Plants vs. Zombies Hybrid. It is without a doubt one of the most impressive feats of modding I've ever seen, only topped by what's coming up later. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. Basically, every plant is now a combination of 2 or more vanilla plants together, and it gets wacky real fast. You start off with relatively simple plants, like a sunflower and pea shooter combo, a potato mine that also releases sun, a cherry bomb that drops sun. There's a lot of sun stuff. But by the end, you have access to some of the most absurd things I think I've ever seen. Here are a few examples. A sunflower that can give you sunflower head zombies to place anywhere. A pumpkin lantern, whose light is also a shield that covers a 3x3 area. A pea shooter burrito that can fire any type of ammo in volleys of 4. A pea shooter cattail, a sunflower cattail, a pot cattail, a fucking pumpkin cattail. A walnut that automatically fires bowling nuts in any direction. And finally, a cannon that spawns a pot, which can be broken into a hypnotized bucket and screen door gargantua that fights for you. And so much more. Honestly, there's some plants that are so insane that you can't even dream them up. No, this is a kind of lunacy that can only be found in playground arguments. I'm sure you can imagine little Jimmy and little Timmy in the schoolyard, after playing Plants vs. Zombies on their mom's computer, arguing about whose imaginary plant is stronger. Like Timmy goes, "Hey Jimmy, I bet my plant is stronger than yours. It's a sunflower that can spawn 2 OP super plants for free, sing to make them shoot 3 times as fast, and can spawn a full-screen meteor shower that kills everything, just for good measure." And then Jimmy says, "Whopper, Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper. I have a Burger King pea shooter that can fire any 20 projectiles at a time, stomp any zombie, butter everything in a lane, and spawn free fries and beverages that you can feed to other plants." Every single thing you've seen here, everything that sounds like fiction, has been reality, which is just insane to me. And yes, every single plant I've mentioned is that powerful. But the sheer quantity of plants in this mod, and the sheer power that each individual one has brought to light a pretty glaring issue. Balance. If you've ever heard the term balance with a sledgehammer, this would be example A1. Because the plants really are that OP, the only way to slow the player down and not let them crush the game is by throwing death balls at them. And boy do they. Wave after wave of gargantuars and football zombies and zambonis and lawnmowers and all these different things just tossed your way, almost designed to try and not let you get the most powerful plants down, because they know that if you do, it's game over. There's not much variance between levels or worlds, you just have to stall as much as possible until the most powerful plants are down, because brute force solves most problems anyway. If you choose to play this mod, be prepared to suffer through a lot of this. And what do I mean by a lot? Well, there's 8 worlds of the adventure mode so far, and I can already spend 30 minutes trying to beat one level. But that's not even the start of it. Just look at this. Okay, so you beat PVZ Hybrid's adventure mode and you want to play some minigames, right? Okay, well here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. And then 1, 2, 3 pages of survival. And then 1, 2 pages of more minigames. And then 1, 2 pages of more minigames. And then another page of another minigames. And then this. Whatever the fuck this is. That is a lot of content, which is usually a great thing. But the problem with Hybrid is not that it needs more stuff in it, it needs more polish and care. After all, I would much rather play 10 great levels than 100 of the same level over and over again. There's also a shit ton of plants, as I've said, but many of them overlap in roles and function, and sometimes new plants just render old plants utterly pointless. The developers do say that they try their best to balance the game, but I don't think it's enough. And every update has to add more plants and more minigames and more levels, just further bloating the product. So, even despite the technical wizardry and novel absurdity, the lack of attention to detail has made some of the community grow to dislike the mod, which I think is a shame. But now, it's time for the main event. The one you've all been waiting for. Oh, what the fuck? I thought I had ad block. Is that an anime girl fighting zombies? They even have a fake skip ad button, which might be illegal. You gotta click the X. Alright, here we go. Oh, god damn it! Plants vs. Zombies Magical Hybrid is somehow even more insane than its source material, in that it basically disregards any respect Hybrid may have had for the original game, the little there was already. This is basically the PVZ equivalent of those horrible looking Chinese RPG games that advertise having 3 trillion power characters.
I've got a level 95 Lucius with Ascended Energy Shield, and the Lightbringers Union top that.
Ha! Noob, you don't stand a chance against my level 97 Orthos with the Titans of
you
Time
want some of
Union.
that?
Kneel before your god.
Everything is cranked. There's now a fuck ton of ultra powerful plants, and some things that aren't even plants. They're fucking lizard men, or like monsters, or literal anime girls. I don't fucking know. What the fuck? Done? Is it done? Can I stop doing that now? Oh my god. So to be absolutely fair here, the version that had all of the anime girls was PVZ Magical Hybrid version 2.0, not 2.3, which is the current version. And they've listened to the feedback and actually removed most of the anime girls. Most of them. You can still find anime girls when you click this button, which is a very strange menu. I don't even know if this art was stolen or not. It more than likely is. And yeah, the fishmen are still there. I don't think they're going away. Yeah, that ends hybrid for me. I don't want to touch anything related to PVZ hybrid for the next, I don't know, 6 to 10 years maybe. But anyway, now finally is what you've all been waiting for. Welcome to the best of the best. This is Plants vs. Zombies Fusion, the most technically impressive PVZ mod I have ever seen and played. And it's exactly like what you're seeing right here. Every single plant in the game has one or multiple fusions with other plants, and this can exponentially increase that plant's versatility and power, and even the power of plants surrounding it. This concept is genius. It actually makes PVZ resemble traditional tower defense games more than it used to, because you actually have to consider unit upgrades. Instead of like in PVZ, where you just have your regular constant damage, and also that one plant that's suitable to take out an annoying enemy, here, the question becomes more nuanced. For example, should I take Chomper in this level, knowing there's going to be really tanky zombies, and also knowing that whenever I fuse it, it resets the Chomper part and then eats another zombie? Do I take Blover, a pretty useless plant in non-fog and non-balloon infested levels, but it synergizes incredibly well with Starfruit, since it makes the stars homing and deal double damage. Ice Shroom has a crazy amount of strong synergies. Should I take it while knowing that it activates the freeze effect whenever you fuse? You never had to think about this stuff in regular PVZ, but now a whole new world of different possibilities has been opened up. It's genuinely exciting to play a mod like this, with such a different approach to its game design, far from the mods that try to be PVZ but better or PVZ but more absurd. And I don't blame any other modders for making their games the way they do, because Fusion is not like any other mod I've ever seen. On boot, you can see that it's actually running inside Unity, but everything functions the same way as you think it would in vanilla. I don't understand how they did it, but using Unity clearly opened up so many doors, and the devs ran through all of them. As you can see, the game is absolutely beautiful. Fully widescreen resolution, uncapped frame rates, windowed and borderless full screen for all your capturing needs, and it is buttery smooth all the time, every time. You might have noticed that this was a video about Chinese mods. So how is this in English? Well, my dear viewer, that's because Unity allows more mods. That's right, this is actually a language pack lovingly created by these community members, and it's very complete and all-encompassing, including the Almanac joke blurbs. Chomp Shooter. Chomp Shooter can fire parts after biting. Chomper has always envied Chomp Shooter's ability to spit out zombie remains, and he's tried to learn the trick more than once. Little did he know, though, that the secret wasn't a special skill. It was just that Chomp Shooter's mouth was slightly deformed, causing bits of zombie to leak out while he was chewing. Every plant and combination plant has this. There was no need, but they did it anyway. Godspeed, you crazy bastards. Now, Fusion is a relatively new mod compared to Hybrid, so it doesn't have nearly as much content, but I believe that it's much more worth playing. There's fewer levels, but they feel more polished, more handcrafted, and each unlock feels like it matters more. Also, fewer does not mean little, because there's an ample amount of vanilla minigames, survival modes, custom minigames, something called Odyssey mode, and a level creator. That's right, you can make your own levels and share them with other people. I am bewildered, frankly, and I did not expect this to be a feature. Overall, I had quite a bit of fun playing this mod despite the pretty sharp difficulty spike at the end. No, what?! And I hope to see more updates soon. The dev does post pretty often on their YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I hope it was, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the sheer power of Chinese people once they get their hands on a good-ass API and can mod all of their favorite games. They do this so much for so many different games, and it's genuinely sad that most of it is either untranslated or unavailable to most of us that are not in China due to China's really stringent internet restrictions. And also, this video did not cover every PVZ1 mod, obviously. It also didn't cover every PVZ1 mod that I wanted to mention. There's some other stuff like the PVZ1 Constellation mod, which I don't really understand, GHTR, whatever that is. There's a 3D version of PVZ Fusion. Why? And also, a World War II mod. Because why the fuck not? But yeah, I just don't have enough time. It's almost Tet holiday, I gotta go back to my grandma's. And yeah, I just needed to get this video done. So please, check the description for all of the mod creators and all of the individual mods and support them so we get more of this insane and awesome shit from China. Thank you all for watching. This has been Carbine64. Peace.